obviously the program is very rigorous in digging that out. But what are some of the specific things that can actually help the students within the program to actually find out what their strengths are? Is it more where they spend their time, where they spend their money, or the things that they do? Just give us a little bit more specifics of how people can discover what their strengths or weaknesses are when they don't have that clarity in their mind.
Very good question. First and foremost is we do not dictate to the student, you need to be thinking this way or that way. What we do is we come alongside them, and we say, let's start with what accomplishments you've already achieved in your life. What are some moments when you've been particularly pleased, particularly happy, you felt like you were in the zone? It can be a sports activity, it can be a relationship with a family member or with a friend. Describe 3 things, 3 opportunities, 3 stories that really motivated you, and you really come alongside them so that they begin to realize this is about me, and you're not trying to impress upon me somebody else's accomplishments, but you're really trying to discover what's important to me. And so we take them through that process. We have them identify certain stories that motivated them throughout their life. And then in addition to that, they're getting the 200 data points from people who have a vested interest in them to say, this is what you're really good at. You're really good at this. And these are things that you should avoid because I said you suck. You're not good at this. So don't do this. Stay away from this. And what this does is it begins to create a sense of confidence and a sense of momentum so that the student can build upon each of those discoveries. And it's very deliberate. You said it was a very rigorous process. It's very deliberate in terms of how they build upon each of the steps. And that's what I learned in running large businesses. Running a $1 billion business is not that much different than running a $10 million business. You just move the decimal point to the right. You still need to do the same blocking and tackling. You need to inspire more people. Your decisions have a greater impact. The same is true for building somebody's self-confidence. And so by starting with your values and understanding that the values are like your root system of a tree. If you take a cross section of a tree, you look at the root system on the bottom, those are your values. They support the trunk of the tree, which is your purpose or your why. And that trunk, the solid trunk, supports the branches and the fruit of the trees, which are your goals and your accomplishments. And so if you visualize that together, they all go hand in hand, and we build that process with the student.
Brilliant. Okay. Now, one of the thoughts that are coming to mind as well is, we talked before about those who discover that maybe, their true calling lies either in entrepreneurship or something outside of academics. But sometimes you can have this, maybe call it like the fear of missing out, because essentially the best time, especially for students, if they are looking to do university or do academics, will be that exact time period or age that you mentioned, between 15 to 20 something. If you look at people, or there is some element of not quite stigma, but if you're doing well, like in entrepreneurship or in finance or whatever, most people who actually get there, they've got some sort of university degree or master's or something that is actually a good academic qualification. But you did touch upon something that it doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. You can actually combine them into the university education and the entrepreneurship, even though they actually don't get to use it. But some of the skills they actually learn in university can actually help them in their business and entrepreneurship as well. But if someone is adamant that the academics is not for them, and they are still have this fear that, maybe there will be a stigma attached to me even if I succeed in business, but I've never been in uni, there will always be that lingering thing in their mind that, I am this big millionaire, billionaire, big entrepreneur, but I still didn't cut it in academics and don't have a degree. Is that a mindset thing, or what would you say to people who have that and maybe they still want to go to uni just so that they remove that stigma or that fear that they will be missing out on something that will put them in good stead in their own entrepreneurship world?
Well, when you're saying that, I bring to mind a colleague of mine who was the president of one of the largest corporations in the world. And he was the head of international, I don't want to say the name of the company, but billions and billions and billions of dollars all over the world. He was head of international, he was head of the US, he was responsible for hundreds of thousands of employees, and he did not have a university degree. He started on the shop floor. And 30 years into his career, he then went back to uni to get the degree because it was bothering him. He had already made more money than any human being needs to make, but he had that lingering desire to go back to uni, and he did.
Wow. So it is possible. Actually, many people have actually done it, like you said, later in life. So it is something that would really linger for people in a way, and even later on in life.
For some people, and then some people say, I'm in an organization with another person who said, I should have never gone to university. I've wasted 6 years of my life going to university. I should not have done that. I should have started my entrepreneurial bent. His business is exploding now. He said I could be 6 years ahead if I would have done that. But I chose to make that decision. And he said, I wish I would have had the self-discovery to really know. And he said, I would have saved myself and my family a lot of money and a lot of angst and emotion had we gone through the self-discovery process before.
Absolutely. That's excellent. Now, at this point, I would like to actually just put up a banner of the where people can find it, like the website, actually, where they can actually. Sure.
Our website is collegeflightplan.com. Collegeflightplan.com. They can send me an email at greg@collegeflightplan.com. And for your listeners today, we've created a special document called The Parents Starter Kit to Teen Self-Discovery, which they can get at collegeflightplan.com/guide. And it's a 26-page document that has a tremendous amount of information, much of what we've covered today, plus a lot more with statistics and assessments that are free, that we support, that can really help a family go through the self-discovery. And that's at collegeflightplan.com/guide.
Okay, let me add that as well. That's the one. Now, is there, from your experience, I guess, since you started this program, you must have had a lot of students who have gone through this process. Have you had to look, maybe, I don't know how easy it is, but some sort of statistics of the comparison between, your students who have gone through this process compared to others who haven't, and how they've actually, what they've achieved in life, and that comparison?
Well, the two that are closest are our two children, and our son, as I mentioned, went to Goldman, and then he went to SAC, to several other hedge funds, and he's still a hedge fund manager, so he's done extremely well in the financial field. Our daughter went on to become a professional volleyball player, and then in the medical field. We have some, like I mentioned, the one gentleman who was named one of the top 20 people under 40 in Miami. We have statistics per se that say this percentage have done this better than others. We don't have that. Some of the people we stay in contact with, some people They move on, and we identify with them, or we meet them later on. But professionals, I've had professionals that work for me that went on to become CEOs of publicly traded companies. So we've done a lot of different things with thousands of people.
Yeah, brilliant. And for you guys, what's the mission or the vision, for the future? If you were to take this flight plan, obviously it's designed for the students to actually get a plan for their life. But if you put that into context, like for you guys, how do you see your vision? Like, what impact do you want to make on students in 5 years, 10 years time? What's the vision for you?
Well, my desire and my purpose statement, just like I have the students fill out a purpose statement, my purpose statement is to help students master their self-discovery so that they can successfully activate their life's purpose.
Yeah.
And I want to do that to as many people as possible, because I'll be affecting future generations. And I just met with a senior leader in a large school system. They have 34,000 students here in San Diego. And the executive said, this is the best program that I've seen in my 38 years that takes what they call social emotional learning of the student, couples it with the parents and the teachers and the counselors. He says, I've never seen anything like that. And so we're looking at going into school systems, initially in California, then across the country. And I'd like to take it around the world, because I think the world needs something like this, because it's not currently being taught in schools.
Absolutely. I mean, even for me, just listening to you, looking at the program, I mean, I've seen some of the testimonials as well. It's just an amazing program, actually. The competitive advantage that it puts through, the people who do it is just amazing. So, I really appreciate you coming to share this with us, and there'll be a lot of listeners who will actually appreciate that. Is there any ideal conditions or situations that you think people or the students should actually be doing this in? What would be your advice on how seriously, or in terms of concentration and just being really committed to do it, rather than, because some people are just, maybe they don't actually grasp the full potential of it if they don't do it properly? What would be your advice?
My advice would be to make a commitment to yourself and your future and your accountability partner, which is key, which many times is the parent, that you will dedicate 12 hours of your life to figure out the rest of your life. And these are not long videos. You can sit for 2.5 minutes, whether you're waiting for your Starbucks coffee or your tea or whatever the case may be in line. You can watch the video, you can learn, you can fill out your workbook, and you can make progress. And if you can dedicate 12 hours for the rest of your life, think how many hours of time you waste, and we all do it. But a student can really make a transformation in their future if they do this. Absolutely. Now, Greg,
it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, and you've shared a lot of golden nuggets which will help many people, myself included, actually. So I will definitely be putting my son through this process, definitely, because it's just amazing. Because for me, I haven't seen anything, just like you mentioned the other parent who have actually mentioned to you that they haven't seen something so detailed. It's something that in my mind at some point I have visualized if people could have that, but to actually see it in real life, the way that you've described it and presented it, it's just amazing for me. So it's great that you are able to come and share this with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm sure at some point in the future, probably give you feedback, and probably I'll get you to come back and share a bit more of what you're doing and how people can actually get to enroll maybe more of your mentorship programs or follow-on programs that you can help them with as well.
We'd love to do that because, again, we give students a 20-year head start over other people.
Yeah.
And we've taken the investment. They invested over $600,000 in me in the training, plus my wife's educational background, and created this tool that is quite unique.
Yes.
That really does help the students, and we're happy to help any of your students, your family, or any of your listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's an absolute pleasure. So, Greg, thank you very much for coming on the podcast, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. But it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and I'm sure we'll be in touch very soon. And most of our listeners will really benefit from this as well. And I can actually see not just it says college pipeline, but I see a lot of benefits to not just students actually going through this plan, just anything who is also keen about entrepreneurship or just having a plan for their life, from any stage, but particularly for students as well. It definitely gives them a big competitive advantage. So thank you very much, Greg, and I'm sure we'll be in touch very soon, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Alex, have a great evening. Thanks so much.
You too. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.